Well, I'm sure by now everybody's probably seen some clips of what took place at the White House yesterday between Donald Trump, Mike Pence, who may or may not have been sleeping through the meeting, and Democratic House Leader Nancy Pelosi, Democratic Senate Leader Chuck Schumer. Here's what's fun about the whole thing, before we even get into the real issue here, is that Nancy Pelosi, and a hell of a lot more than Chuck Schumer, Schumer gets 1% of the credit for what happened yesterday. Pelosi's getting 99% of it at least. She did, as Judd Legum at Think Progress pointed out, she did what no Republican in the last 2 years has been willing to do. She stood up to Trump, to his face, in public, in front of cameras. That is what happened yesterday. Trump was sitting there trying to tell them, give me the funding for my border wall. And Pelosi straight up said, no, you're not going to get it. You don't have the votes. He countered by saying, no, I do have the votes. Then Chuck came over and finally spoke up and said, yeah, we're not going to do this. And then Trump, in true Trump fashion, said the following. He said, I'm proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck. I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. That's on tape. We have a video of it. Everybody can see it. It is online all over the place. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. It is everywhere. Donald Trump saying, I'm not going to blame you for it. So it's going to be really interesting when the government does shut down to see how Donald Trump tries to walk back that comment or deny that he ever said it in the first place, because that is 100% what's going to happen. But let's get to the big part, right? After Donald Trump was publicly humiliated by Nancy Pelosi, Nancy and Chuck left, and then Donald got super pissed. Maybe he was mad that Pence appeared to sleep through the whole thing. Who knows? Maybe he was mad that he got owned on national television by Nancy Pelosi and, to a lesser extent, Chuck Schumer. But according to Los Angeles Times White House correspondent Eli Stokols, Trump grabbed his papers, walked out of the room, got mad, and threw his papers all over the room. Just threw them. Angry. A temper tantrum that you would expect from a 3-year-old coming out of a man who is well over the age of 70. That is how Donald Trump reacted to the fact that people actually stood up to him, they told him no, and they got him to say that he's going to take the blame for the government shutdown. Donald Trump did not walk out of that meeting with a shred of dignity, and that's what was so infuriating to him. And that's what could have been happening for the last 2 years had Republicans shown the least bit of a spine. But we weren't going to get that from Paul Ryan. We weren't going to get that from Mitch McConnell. But we did get it yesterday from Nancy Pelosi. So I know there's been this big talk about Pelosi and her leadership, and a lot of people didn't want it. Most people did want it. What she did yesterday showed how effective she can be. And as long as we get that Nancy Pelosi for the next 2 years, then hell yeah, I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. That Pelosi in the White House yesterday is the Pelosi that we've been needing, the Pelosi we have been wanting, and the Pelosi that this country is desperately needing at the moment. So if she keeps this up, then hell yeah, more power to you, Nancy. Maybe tell Chuck to buck up a little bit too, and start acting like he also has a backbone. Half the time he looked as sleepy as Mike Pence. But what happened yesterday in the temper tantrum that Donald Trump threw after they left is a clear indication of how exciting the next 2 years are going to be when more and more Democrats, and maybe they'll bring some Republicans with them, continue to stand up to Trump and tell him no. One of our sponsors for today's videos is Skillshare.com. Skillshare.com is a website that allows users to learn whatever skill it is they're looking to learn, whether it's to better yourself to get a better career, or you're looking to just expand your horizons personally. Skillshare.com has the videos and tutorials that you need to do everything from learn how to be a better cook, learn a second or even third language, or learn video editing and Photoshop skills and everything in between. Skillshare.com has it all. And if you use the custom URL in this video and also in the description to this video, the first 500 people to use that will get 2 months absolutely free. That's 2 months to go through the entire Skillshare.com catalog and learn whatever skill it is you've been wanting to learn. So don't put it off any longer. If there's something you want to learn how to do, again, maybe it's for a career change, maybe it's for a better position, or maybe just something you really want to know, check out Skillshare.com using the custom URL below, and the first 500 will get 2 months absolutely free.